Can the Auburn Tigers keep it going on the road versus LSU? Let's talk about it right here inside the town.
The Auburn Express. You are now listening to the War Rapport Longtown Podcast with your boy Ike Jones.
Lobtown, we are here. Auburn versus LSU going down, and we need to talk about this game. Auburn is coming in, trying to keep the streak alive, undefeated so far in conference play, going against an LSU team that has had its ups and downs this season. Before we get into the conversation, you are right here inside the Lobtown, part of the Auburn Express, powered by the War Rapport. Please go ahead and share this content with somebody and bring them in here into the conversation as we talk. But Auburn 18-1 right now and undefeated in conference, trying to keep it going 6-0 on the road in Baton Rouge, a team in LSU that most recently played a close contest versus Alabama inside of Coleman Coliseum. And that LSU team has not fared well inside of conference so far. They have so far only had the one win, and that was at home versus Arkansas. But they have been a tough place to play inside of their building. They've been a better team for sure. And that's just kind of the nature of the SEC. Really, college basketball is difficult to get road wins, particularly once you get into conference play. But LSU's been pesky inside of their building. But again, they've only had the one win inside of conference versus an Arkansas team that has not really found their footing this entire season. So the question really is, can Auburn get it done on the road here versus LSU? And when you look at the game and kind of how things play out, the importance of this game for Auburn is really to continue to, only undefeated team in SEC play right now, to continue to keep that stranglehold on the regular season title, to get them into a place where they're going to have the seeding that they want to in the postseason. At this point in time, Auburn would have to have a complete collapse to miss the SEC. Not the SEC tournament, but the NCAA tournament, right? Or to not have a good seed. They'd have to have a complete collapse. And it just doesn't feel as if this is a team that is on the verge of collapse. They've had some challenges, but just haven't had that moment where it's just like, oh my God, this team isn't prepared for whatever moment that steps up in front of them. And for LSU, they're trying to get into postseason eligibility, right? They're trying to get into a place where they're looked at as a tournament team, and getting a win versus the number one team in the country would absolutely go a long way towards having their resume look the right way. And so when you're the number one team, everybody's going to come and bring their best game for you. I don't expect any differently from LSU in this one. Last few games for LSU, again, have been tough ones, but ones where they've shown the ability to go out there and be pesky on defense and really force teams into tough shots. But they haven't been able to really close the deal on anybody yet. And really mostly because of they've been careless with the basketball, right? This LSU team has turned the ball over quite a bit. And a lot of them being unforced turnovers. They're just having a lot of sloppy play with a team that's had some injuries, guys in and out of the lineup, and trying to figure out how to coalesce and gel as a team. It just hasn't come together for them in any sort of consistent fashion within the SEC play. And that's contributed to them not being able to close games late. They've had some close contests. Like, let's look at their SEC games that they've had thus far. They lost by 8 to Vanderbilt at home, and then they lost at Missouri. That was a pretty big one there. They lost 83 to 67 in that game. They played against Ole Miss and lost that game by 12. The win versus Arkansas, a close contest. They only won that game by 4. Texas A&M, they lost that game by 11, and then just recently lost to Alabama by 7. So, but in all of those games, they've looked good at points during the games. They just haven't really been able to get over the hurdle. Where Auburn is going to have the advantage against this LSU team for one of the few games we can say so far in the SEC schedule is, I think Auburn has a significant advantage on the boards in this game. LSU has a lot of really good athletes, but Auburn, I think, has the better rebounding team in this instance. So Auburn should be able to dominate the glass and be able to get some second chance points going against this LSU team. Offensive rebounding in conference so far, they are the 13th ranked team defending against offensive rebounds. So this is a team where Auburn should be able to, and they're not really good rebounding offensively on their own as well. So this is a game in which Auburn should be able to dominate on the glass. Janai Broome back into the fold to be in that rotation as another big. He just had 14 big boards in this last game versus Tennessee, who is a really good rebounding team. Expect him to have a similar effort in this game, another double-double if he's able to play through the entirety of the game and is healthy. I don't see any reason why Janai Broome should not have another double-double in this game. But on the interior, on the boards, Auburn definitely has the advantage here. Additionally, LSU has not defended the three particularly well. Now, Auburn has been on a bit of a shooting slump from three. Now, they hit, I think, 10 threes versus Georgia, but in this last game versus Tennessee, had some good looks, weren't able to capitalize. But this is a game where LSU is a team that really defensively likes to pack it in the paint, right? Like they want to try to limit and make you have tough twos. But because of that, they do give a lot of open looks from three. And then because they surrender a lot of offensive rebounds, that second chance rebound to kick out for the three is something that they are susceptible to. So Auburn should have an opportunity to be able to get a lot of open looks from three. If the guards can play better in this game and be able to consistently knock down the outside shot, then Auburn should be able to win this game comfortably. Again, if you're going to control the boards and you're going to get solid looks from three, you should be able to go out there and score a lot of points. This is one of those games where, unlike some of the games that Auburn's played recently, you're not going to have the pressure on the guards being able to get into the offense. Auburn's offense in the last couple of games has looked a little shaky. The defenses are very different for those teams that they're facing. LSU likes to, again, they like to condense what they're doing on the interior to try to keep you out of the paint and make the interior things tough for you to be able to get catches and get clean looks on the interior, which means that those guards are going to have a lot of freedom, right? In that freedom, you have to take good shots, though. Auburn's going to need to be able offensively to be patient and take good shots. Just because you can dribble into a three doesn't mean you need to hoist up 10 of those in the game. You need to really just kind of make sure you're working your offense and finding the best shots that are available. LSU will give those to you if you're patient, but you have to be patient in the way that you're going to operate your offense in order to be able to do that. On the other side of this, though, very much like some of the other teams that Auburn has played so far in SEC competition, this team in LSU can get to the free throw line. But unlike some of the other teams like Missouri or even like Georgia, they actually shoot a very good percentage from the free throw line. They are the third best free throw shooting team in the conference, but they are the best at getting to the free throw line so far in conference play. So this is a team in Auburn that has done a good job in the last couple of games of defending without fouling. They need to do that again in this game to make sure that they keep LSU off of that free throw line, because they do shoot a decent percentage from the free throw line. In fact, they're shooting over 70% as a team from the free throw line. So Auburn needs to make sure, defending without fouling, letting LSU force the frantic stuff that LSU really wants to get into as far as a pace sometimes will lend to them having those unforced turnovers like I spoke of already. Auburn doesn't need to really try to get into this up and down frenetic pace that LSU wants to play. But they need to make sure that they're forcing LSU into doing the things that they've been doing, which is turning the ball over and having sloppiness, but stay patient on the offensive end if you're not able to get the live ball turnovers and get out in transition. Again, very athletic team for LSU here, and they have some guys that can compete on the boards. I just think as a team, Auburn is better at being able to do that. The efficiency, though, for LSU is in being able to force teams into bad shots there on the interior. They just haven't rebounded the ball particularly well to close out defensive possessions. LSU also a team that's kind of spotty from three, right? They shot the ball okay from three. That their 3-point rate is kind of in the middle of the conference right now. They're not shooting a ton of threes, but they're not shooting it at a great percentage. But they have a couple of guys who can get really hot out there from three. So, one thing that I love about this Auburn team and I love about this coaching staff is the scouting report of who they need to be able to be concerned about, particularly of not getting hot from the 3 points area. And I think that they're going to come in with a really good scout on how to take away some of the better shooters, particularly Cam Carter there for LSU being the leading scorer. He is shooting a whopping 47.8% right now from three when he is at home on the season. Now, on the season, he's already shooting 39%, which is a good percentage, but he's shooting almost 48% at home from three. And so that's a guy that Auburn's going to need to make sure that they're just not giving clean looks to. And I like the way that they, for the most part in the game, did that versus Chaz Lanier. They're going to need to be able to reproduce that versus a guy who, unlike Chaz Lanier, likes to shoot off the dribble, right? So it's not going to just be catch and shoot scenarios, which he can do that, but he wants to be able to pull off of the dribble as well. So big game's going to be needed defensively from Denver Jones, a guy who has been steady defensively throughout the year, but he's had his struggles on offense. He's going to definitely need to be able to step up defensively in this game and shut out Cam Carter from being able to get some of those clean looks that he wants to be able to get, whether it's off the dribble or off of some of the action that they want to be able to run for him. So this is not a game where I go in with a lot of worries about whether or not Auburn should be able to win this game. Auburn should win this game. Let me be very clear about that. I expect Auburn to win this game, but you can't take any win for granted. The one thing that I love that Coach Pearl has continued to say about this team is they've respected every opponent. If you go in here and you respect LSU as a team that is capable of beating you, then you should come out with the victory because you have the better team in this one. But listen, I want to hear from you all. What are your thoughts on this game? Auburn versus LSU. Who do you think is going to win? What kind of point margin do you think it's going to be? What are your concerns about this game? I want to hear that right down there in the comment section. So make sure you do that. But before you get out of here, make sure you're doing the necessary stuff like liking this video, subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and share the content with somebody out there. Make sure you turn those notification bells on because after the game, we are absolutely going to go live and react to what we saw out there on the hardwood. But you guys make sure you check right back in with us. If you're not Green Name Game, you're not going to be able to get in on the watch party, but we will have that watch party going down. Auburn versus LSU. Until the next time, and as always, I'm out of here. War Eagle.